In the past, scientists thought that whales were fish, which is honestly kind of understandable when you know as much about the world as a 3-year-old knows about quantum mechanics. I mean, just look at them. Whales live in the ocean, so do fish. They have fins, so do fish. They have a tail fluke, so do fish. Whales have fur, and never mind, fish don't have fur. Uh, they breathe air. Wait, no. But whales have scales. No, what the Of course, people nowadays know better. We know that whales are mammals, and the reason we define them as mammals is because of phylogeny. Phylogeny is the study of the relationships between different species, and all you really need to know for this video is that if a species is a descendant of a group of animals, they also belong to that group. So to use the aforementioned whales as an example, whales evolved from mammals, and therefore whales are mammals. The most famous example of this is the fact that birds are dinosaurs. The earliest birds we know of, Archaeopteryx, does in fact have some very dinosaur-like features, such as their teeth and their very dinosaur-looking legs. More specifically, birds are maniraptoran theropods, which means that they are in the same clade as the therizinosaurs, oviraptors, dromaeosaurs, and a few other mostly small theropods. This also means that birds are reptiles. During the Mesozoic, there were many different aquatic reptiles with different land-dwelling ancestors. One of the biggest of these reptiles were the mosasaurs. They were predators, and the largest members of the species, Mosasaurus hoffmanii, could grow to 17 meters, which is the same length as a sperm whale, although they probably weighed less. Their ancestors were most likely the aguilasaurs, which lived in shallow oceans and have so far only been discovered in what is now Croatia. Despite looking a lot like other marine reptiles, especially the plesiosaurs, mosasaurs were actually lizards, and they were very closely related to modern-day monitors. Balar Bondok was a dinosaur that lived on Hatzeg Island, which is famous for its strange animals such as the massive Hatzegopteryx and the relatively tiny Magurosaurus and Tethys hadros. Balar was one of the biggest land-dwelling carnivores on the island, and they looked a lot like dromaeosaurs like Velociraptor. They had very strange feet with two large sickle claws on every foot, which they most likely used when hunting. All in all, Balar Bondok was a pretty normal dinosaur, except for one thing: its ancestors could fly. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this thing right here is a bird that found the island ecosystem of Hatzeg and became a predator which looks oh so similar to other more famous theropods. Whenever someone talks about phylogeny, the subject of us humans almost always comes up, because our ancestors back in the Devonian were fish, fish that swam in the oceans. But yet, we technically aren't fish, and that is because there is no one group of animals called fish. Instead, we are sarcopterygians, or lobed-finned fishes. The only lobed-finned fish that are still alive and actually look like a fish, i.e. not a whale or something, are the coelacanths and the lungfish. The last animal I will talk about in this video is the vampire squid. It is a deep-sea animal that grows to about 30 centimeters or a foot. They have 8 arms as well as 2 long filaments, which they use to feed. They are thought to live in every ocean, and they have the largest eyes compared to their body size in the entire animal kingdom. Even though they have the word squid in their name and kinda look like a mix between squids and octopi, they actually don't belong to either order. Instead, they are just their own kind of thing. Thank you so much for watching this video, blah 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 blah. Please consider liking and subscribing as it really helps me, blah 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 blah.